You been drinking tonight?
Yes.
Every 39 minutes,
Blah, 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 blah.
someone in the U.S.
Kind of smell the alcohol a little bit.
dies in a drunk driving crash.
You think he crashed?
But what happens when those sworn to serve and protect
I'm a police officer too.
I got friends that work with you all.
are themselves the danger behind the wheel?
He's drunk. That sucks for him.
11 Alive Investigates found in the last 5 years, 290 law enforcement officers were arrested for DUI.
Okay, well, spin around for me. You're under arrest for DUI at this time.
Of those, about 30 eventually had their law enforcement certifications revoked.
I'm just going to let you know.
The other 260
I'm in the academy.
were allowed to remain in law enforcement.
I work for DeKalb. I work in law enforcement too.
I think the public has the right to know that the people that are doing this job are held to a high standard.
Chris Harvey is executive director of the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council, or POST, the agency determining whether to revoke an officer's certification.
This council has taken a basic position that if an officer is involved in a DUI from a POST perspective, they're generally given a chance to accept probation, pay a fine, usually attend some drug or alcohol awareness training, and then continue on with their career.
In Georgia, any additional reprimands are at the discretion of the agency employing them.
It was everything from a 5% pay decrease to a demotion to a promotion to moving to a civilian position. How is it possible that there's such a huge difference in how these different agencies are approaching this?
Well, because each agency is autonomous and they have their ability to set their own standards for things.
So how many officers were terminated by their agency following a DUI arrest? 18%.
18%.
18%.
I guess that's why they do it, yeah.
We broke the news to neighbors in Gwinnett that the person who smashed into their mailboxes last year was a deputy driving his patrol car drunk, who then fled the scene.
They didn't stop.
Will you blow into a preliminary breath test?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay.
Come on, guys.
Why is it the agency of their brothers making the decision of what happens to their job?
We're on the same side, man. Told me, hey, look, go the other way.
The fact that, an officer may be involved in DUI is something that really should be looked at, but it's something that people do all the time.
Would it be possible to standardize in some way via the agencies, what punishments are?
Not unless the legislature did something.
I know he's a police officer. There's still a limit on that.
Absolutely.
You know that.
The public trust is paramount. Police officers are not above the law.
We can't be out here getting people DUI and then we do it ourselves.
I'm sorry about it being hot in here.
Don't mistake what you're about to hear
They never came to fix our air conditioner.
for complaining.
This is the kitchen.
Because after 21 years,
This is just the bathroom.
Tajay Pennington finally gets to say,
And this is my room.
mine.
My Xbox. I love playing the game.
Not much, but more than she's ever had.
Where does your roommate sleep?
Right there on that mattress.
Better than the circumstances that landed her in Georgia's foster care system at 15.
It wasn't a home. It was more so of a prison. Like, she used to put a bar on my door and I wasn't able to come out. Like, I used to be in my room for months at a time. The police used to come and stuff. They used to tell me that they would get me out the situation that I was in and they would never come back to help me. And I remember, I'm sorry.
It's been 5 months since Tajay aged out of foster care and had to make it on her own.
Turned 21, got the apartment, and that's it. They helped me drop my stuff off and then they left.
5 days a week at her $12 an hour job wasn't enough to keep the bills paid or the recent eviction notice from her door.
I'm really scared, but there's a lot of homeless people out there, so at least I won't be the only one.
That's why the federal government introduced the Foster Youth to Independence, or FYI, voucher program in 2019, providing up to 36 months of rental assistance for young people like Tajay.
This year, Georgia's eligible to receive 769 FYI vouchers, but we've only received 3 obtained by Brunswick and Albany. That's 0.005% of the nearly $12.8 million available this year.
Did anyone with defects actually set a meeting with you?
No.
Never?
Never.
On a state level, DFACS admits they don't track these young people after they age out, telling 11 Alive Investigates they're, quote, working to establish a centralized process. We reached out to all 13 Georgia housing authorities that are currently eligible for FYI vouchers. Only 2, Atlanta and DeKalb, said they plan to apply for the vouchers soon. Others, like Fulton and Decatur, said they're focusing their resources on other programs. Nearly all said they hadn't heard from DFACS about the FYI program at all until August 1st of this year, the exact same day we first reached out to DFACS about this story.
It would have helped me be in the space where I don't have to worry about where my next meal or where I'm going to lay my head.
If Atlanta Housing does obtain vouchers, Tajay could qualify if they find her. Until then, she's holding on as long as she can to hope and what's hers.
It's just material things, you know what I mean? At least they didn't take my soul.
The air don't work, so I gotta get the air fixed.
It's been 6 months since Joey Watkins was exonerated. After serving 22 years for a murder he did not commit.
This is hopefully where my new business will take off from.
6 months since the cameras packed up.
I mean, it's kind of 70s style, but...
And the news headlines ended.
Beggars can't be choosers right now.
And Watkins went home to Rome to try to move on.
The biggest shock was the reality that, you know, half your family's gone. Everything that you remember.
Gone too, his family's car business, forced to close after the legal fees to clear Watkins' name became too much for his parents to shoulder.
They spent every bit of money they ever made in their life on getting me home. And when I came home, they had nothing. So it's been nothing but a struggle since then.
38 states and D.C. have laws in place to compensate wrongfully convicted citizens. Georgia isn't one of them.
When men do time, they offer programs for them, grants, stuff like that. When you're exonerated, you're no longer a convicted felon. You're not eligible for those benefits. So it's kind of like, hey, we'll see you. Good luck.
Why do we not have laws in place to standardize this?
Well, that's very interesting because we're trying to get one.
State Representative Katie Dempsey says that bill would put the responsibility of compensating exonerees into the hands of an independent board. As it stands now, a legislator has to sponsor individual compensation resolutions for each wrongfully convicted person.
This is not what any of us felt we were elected to do, to sit there and hold someone's life in our hands and try to decide what the value on that might be.
Dempsey is sponsoring Watkins' resolution, which would compensate him just over $1.6 million, $72,000 for each year of wrongful imprisonment.
And it is not much when you think of the value of your life.
Watkins watched in the wings as the resolution made it out of the House in the final hours of crossover day.
The resolution is therefore adopted.
To a standing ovation.
It's going to make me cry. It is emotional. It was powerful.
But it still has to pass the Senate, where it's been stalled for weeks.
There is resistance just on the principle, I think, of the state being financially responsible for something that was carried out by a county.
As the clock runs out, so do the few dollars Watkins has left to his family name.
I said, let's just resurrect Watkins Auto Center, give it a second chance. Let's try.
But the roadblocks keep coming.
I can't get a business loan because I can't show 2 years of tax returns. I mean, I'm out of money, so I'm on a day-to-day basis now. If it keeps going like this, I'm possibly out of this place. I'm just sitting waiting.
Also sitting, waiting, somewhere in Georgia's capital is a bill that could change state law for exonerees and a resolution that could change Watkins' future.
This is gonna be my legacy if it works out.
After more than 2 decades of stolen past.
It's either sink or swim, and I'll swim till I sink.
This is you, walking through Hartsfield-Jackson Airport to the rideshare area.
You already have a ride? No, not yet.
When someone offers to take you home.
We don't have to go down to the rideshare area?
No, I do
okay.
ride Lyft too.
It's faster, they say.
I'm right over here. Okay. I'm closer.
Cheaper.
You can do Venmo cash.
But
you're a rideshare driver, so like...
They're not actually a rideshare driver.
Do I have to like call you through the app?
Nope. The hidden camera in my glasses capturing the conversations.
Oh, you just give me the address?
4 people within an hour stopped me on the way to the rideshare pickup area offering a ride.
hey, do you need a ride? I work for Uber, I could take you home, where do you live?
This is Nicole Frazier.
By the time I got to baggage claim, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
She recalls the recent early morning when this same thing happened to her.
That to me struck me as just very odd because I know how the system works with Lyft and Uber, where you go to a certain section in Atlanta airport. She only approached me, single female, by myself. I was very fearful for my life. I was very uncomfortable. It just did not feel like his intentions was to get me safely home. There was no security around for me to even go to at that time.
Atlanta police confirm this is happening more and more, and they're ramping up efforts to address it.
We do conduct undercover details to target solicitors.
Major Kelly Collier with APD's Airport Precinct says they've arrested and issued citations to multiple people for posing as rideshare drivers at Atlanta's airport, trying to coax travelers into their cars.
What would be the motivation for them approaching people in the airport?
For money, monetary gain.
But Collier also said police are not counting out more sinister motives.
I do fear that it would be some form of human trafficking and we would never see these people again.
We have had some people say they're scared it's human trafficking. Is that a concern for you in this case?
We're concerned about everything.
11 Alive Investigates dug into the police reports and found many of the rideshare imposters are repeat offenders, despite being banned from the airport. APD has already charged this man multiple times in 2024 for illegally trying to entice travelers into his vehicle. He even took off with one victim's luggage when airport security tried to intervene.
I ain't got no warrant for searching with. Search me for what?
We dug into his criminal history and found more than 100 charges spanning several years, including assault, robbery, terroristic threats, DUI, and drug possession. A warrant for his arrest out of Clayton County listed him as a sexually violent predator and escape risk with violent tendencies who's armed and dangerous.
Holy crap.
When we showed his photo to Nicole,
this was the guy.
She recognized him as the man who approached her.
That hurts. This hurts. That I could have potentially been a victim.
Since January, police have charged several different people for posing as rideshare drivers at the airport. Police say if it happens to you, call 911. Which we did.
Airport communication 911.
So glad that I paid attention to that not right feeling about this person watching me that whole time, but I'm grieved. I'm actually grieved.